Waitin' for You Smile was written and performed by Zoe Chilco. This talented local musician was a singer, songwriter, and at one time hosted a show at Canoe FM. Zoe was mentioned at the Junos this year as a musician lost too soon. We would like to acknowledge Zoe Chilco, who had a huge following in the Haliburton Highlands and beyond. Joining us is entertainer, author, humorist, and good friend of Zoe's, Jerelyn Craden. Welcome, Jerelyn, to Sunday Night Big Band.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny. It's my pleasure. And any opportunity to even say a little wonderful thing about Zoe is a real treat.
You're so sweet. And Jerelyn, can you tell our listeners when you and Zoe became friends?
You know, Zoe and I crossed paths practically from the day I got here, since I moved up to Haliburton 13 years ago, because we would both be volunteering to perform at various functions. But it was about 3 years ago when we really became good friends, because it was at that point that one of the things on my bucket list was trying my hand at stand-up comedy. And so I would go to Toronto for, a stretch of time and hook up with Zoe, and we'd hang out together. And in fact, Zoe was, she's so spontaneous, that, and always any opportunity to do her thing, to perform, especially to sing, she wouldn't pass up, or she'd create that opportunity. She came with me one night, when I was getting up and doing some stand-up, and she asked the person who was managing the evening, and it was just all comics, if she could get up and sing. And he said, yeah, okay. And God bless her, she got up and without any accompaniment, just did a Zoe. And everyone loved it. And that is really, part of what made Zoe so absolutely unique. Anyway, it was from that point on that, we'd spend more time together. And one of the things that just blew me away about her, I was visiting with her not too long before she passed. And she told me that she had always loved the Gaelic language. I mean, it's so, really? That's a toughie. Well, she wanted to learn it. So what did she do? She went back to school and learned it. So she actually picked up a children's book in Gaelic while I was visiting with her and read to me in Gaelic.
I don't think that's anything that our listeners would know about her, would they?
No, and I don't know if very many people know that she completed a novel. She completed writing a novel before she passed, right before, called Wind Dancing, The Search for Mr. Alone. Now, I'm not quite sure at this point how you could get a hold of a copy, but it was a lovely book. She was a really good writer. So not just a songwriter, but she wrote lovely prose, and she was a straight shooter. I mean, anybody who listened to her show would get that from her. She had this these dulcet tones to her voice, very laid back, very bright, and very open and engaging. One thing that I loved so much about her, I bet you're going to ask me, what did you love about her?
Out of all the things, what did you love most about her? Because it sounds like there were many.
Yeah, there really were. But one of the main things that I loved about Zoe was her fearlessness. As opposed to some of us who feel much more comfortable to be almost overly rehearsed, Zoe was not afraid to just get up and say, here's the key, I sing this in, and let's do it. And she'd make it happen, and she'd bring her light to the situation, whatever it was, and, have a good time. And that was it. She loved to perform. She absolutely loved it. It was such a joy, and you really got that. I also loved when she started, she tried her hand at being a chanteuse. I thought she was fantastic. I thought her voice really was a natural for doing romantic songs in French. She was very good with the language. But, she would do an occasional tune that way rather than I'm going full hog as a chanteuse. She also was very generous, and I don't remember her ever saying a bad word about anyone. She was generous and very inclusive. And even when she was clearly not physically well, and bone skinny, she performed. She even did a porch show for people in her neighborhood.
That's really sweet. Well, Jerelyn, I know it must have been hard for you to share these memories with us, but they're so sweet, and thank you so much. Well,
thank you for doing this.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And as we say goodbye, we're going to play 2 more songs from her album, Up the Highway. They are titled Just One Day and Sweet Summer Morning here on Sunday Night Big Band, with Jerelyn reflecting on her love for Zoe Chilco.
Thank you.